much teeth. Enraged like a demon, he's half man, half ghost. 789.36 is the number of the bear shark. Is at the end, my friend, half man, half ghost. You're going round the bend. Have no fear, hand grenade, grandma, 'cause the end is near.
Oh, hey, there you are. I was just filling in these Philistines with the particulars of the new It movie. You know, It Chapter 2, which is funny because where the story picks up has to be somewhere mid-novel, right? There's 1,138 pages in the original novel, which means the halfway point is at 569. Averaging 8 pages per chapter, that would land us at chapter 71.125. You got all the characters coming back. You got, hold on. Sharonda, turn on the TV. All of our clown-killing comrades are coming back. You got Eleanor Rigby. You got Professor Xavier von Splinterpants, Ronald McDonald, and the rest. So this is a sequel where they fast forward with the same characters 27 years in the future. So we're still seeing the kids from the first one, but interspersed with new actors playing older thems. Hey Richie, get me another Juicy Lucy, and this time go easy on the Sprite. Where was I? Oh yeah. The fat kid looks like the success kid from the internet meme. Say what you want, but the new guy is hotter. So the losers, the kids from the first movie, faced down the evil clown Pennywise and went on to grow up and become other actors that are more appropriately aged for the roles of adults 27 years later, which obviously is in contrast to my previous It movie ending explained. They all got tetanus and died a horrible death. Everyone is entitled to be wrong once in a while. All the hobbits got tetanus and died a horrible death. So, as some of you already suspected, the ending has a lot to do with the 1986 arcade game Rampage. In the first movie, we see at the 1 hour 39 minute mark, child Richie is playing Street Fighter, and behind him very clearly is the Rampage video game cabinet. For those of you that are uninformed, arcade games were large closet-looking creatures that existed in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. With the advent of home consoles, the arcade cabinet, such as the aforementioned Rampage, has become the stuff of legend. So what, right? Big deal, huh? Okay, well, several things to start with. Derry, Maine is in the midst of the great video game decline that started in the early 80s. Whereas it is in no way a remote locale, Derry is not LA or New York, where the clientele and money would justify a brand new arcade cabinet. The Rampage arcade game shows up in the second movie when Richie breaks into the old theater to find his own totem for the Chud ritual. Not only does it show up in the second movie, it appears at the exact same time as the first, 1 hour and 39 minutes. The Rampage game includes Bangor, Maine, which is referenced canonically in King's fictional universe as being east of Derry. Bangor also is said to have been a big influence with King in the writing of the sewer scenes for It. Now, since we know the video game Rampage exists in this universe, we can also extrapolate that its creators do too, Brian Collin and Jeff Norman. Brian and Jeff have experienced successful careers in video games since the early 80s. One might even say abnormally successful. Take as example the year following the events of It Chapter 1. Bally Midway was bought out by a competitor. The entirety of the staff was replaced with the exception of 2 men, Colin and Norman. Colin and Norman recruited Pennywise, the dancing clown, to masquerade as Patricia Pullings to start the great satanic panic of the 80s.
Connected to a number of suicides and murders. Shotgun suicide, obsessed with the game. Police are blaming D&D. And the list goes on.
Summoned a Dungeons and Dragons demons into his room before he killed himself.
Pennywise, as Pullings, started the group BADD, otherwise known as Bothered About Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons being the tabletop role-playing game that at the time was the biggest competitor to the struggling video game industry. The satanic panic swept the United States, incorporating local churches into the banning and burning of hundreds of thousands of D&D books and tiny, meticulously painted miniature goblins. This fear-mongering was more than enough to feed the injured Pennywise after his defeat at the hands of the losers. So, in conclusion, the men that created the Rampage video game popular in the 1980s used a child-eating interstellar monster to influence the church going public to ban a tabletop role-playing game, simultaneously fostering their own careers and feeding the fear of a nation to a space spider demon. Or the thing that comes to be known as Pennywise was actually an alien that feeds on fear. When the children that has been stalking lose their fear, they gain the ability to face down the monster once and for all and learn something about themselves and friendship along the way. Okay.